every single movement that I do would cause pain. I literally couldn't walk afterwards. I didn't even have the strength to like brush my teeth. It was that bad. I had to go through several procedures like chemo infusions or like IVIG, and at one point they put a central line on my neck. It's like right here. They basically put in a tube down my neck to be able to do the IVIG and then put in the medicines faster. My name is Cathlene Quizon, and I currently live in Mobile, Alabama. My parents wanted us to work hard at school mainly because they want us to have a better future. They would always tell us stories about their life when they were young and the hardships that they went through. They had to work at an early age just so they can have food at their house and whatnot. And so that's why they always tell us to study hard so we don't have to go through those things. And that really opened my eyes to the harsh reality of life. And so that inspired me and motivated me to really take advantage of the opportunities that I've been blessed with. I don't particularly consider myself smart, but one thing I do consider myself is very hardworking and determined, especially if there's something I want, like a goal I want to accomplish. And one of those things was, for example, back in high school, I was really aiming to be a valedictorian. That was my main goal. So my family consists of my dad, his name is Rodolfo, my mom, her name is Jerry, and I have a younger brother, his name is Rigel or RK. My parents, if I were to describe them, my dad is the more strict one. He's a man of a few words, but he's pretty alright. But I would say my mom is the cooler one, so there's a balance between them. They've always instilled in us that if we want to be successful in life, or if there's anything we want in life, then we always have to prioritize God and our duties at church. I am a member of the Church of Christ, and my upbringing has always been based on the church's teachings. God's love and care is evident in my daily life, especially in my life, with everything that has transpired these past few months alone. Because without God's help, I don't think I would have made it. Back in 2015, in the middle of my sophomore year of high school, when I started feeling very sick, what started out as feeling like flu symptoms turned out to be anemia. And then the next day, we got a call that we have to see a nephrologist. And then right then and there, the doctor said, I have stage 5 kidney failure. Only 20% of my kidneys were functioning. That is why I started having breakouts, because my kidney couldn't clean out all the toxins in my body. That was a side effect from my kidney failure. And one other side effect I got from it was weakness. I was always tired, and I didn't really have energy as much as I used to back then. I don't really get to hang out with friends as much just because of the fact that I'm tired. When we found out I was sick, it really shocked everyone, and my doctors told me was that I could either die or get a kidney transplant, and that's basically it. And the fact that I was tired all the time truly impacted my studies, because it prevented me from doing my assignments at school, especially with all the AP classes I was taking. I went from being second to 52nd, and that's what really frustrated me the most, more than the fact that I was diagnosed with kidney failure. I would be lying if I say that there isn't a time or a moment where I really felt like giving up, especially with all the painful procedures I've gone through. But at the end of the day, my faith and hope is that God is always there for me, and He won't put me through something that I cannot overcome.
Anong sabi sa atin ng Biblia? Ang Panginoon, pumapatnubay niya sa atin sa landas na dapat nating lakaran. Siya ang pumoprotekta sa kanyang mga hinirang. Tayong mga lingkod ng ating Panginoong Diyos, kung tayo ay narito pa sa mundong ito, maaaring dumating din sa buhay natin ang mabibigat na suliranin. Maaaring maigupo tayo ng mga suliranin yan. Ngunit anong sabi sa atin ng ating Panginoong Diyos? Kung sila anya'y mabuwal, hindi sila mananatiling nakadapa. Ano dahilan? Sapagkat ang Panginoon ang tutulong anya sa kanila para sila ay muling makabangon. Ang Panginoong Diyos ang nagtuturo sa atin sa daan na dapat nating lakaran. Ang ating Panginoong Diyos ang nagbibigay sa atin ng proteksyon. At kapag tayo ay nabubuwal, tinutulungan tayo ng ating Panginoon na tayo ay muling makabangon. Alam niyo mga kapatid, kung talagang tutuusin, wala tayong dapat alalahanin . Kasi tao tayo ng Diyos, nasa bayan niya tayo. At meron siyang pangako sa kanyang mga hinirang. Kung yung kanyang mga pangako tinupad niya sa kanyang bayan, yung mga pangako niya sa kanyang mga hinirang, tutuparin din yon ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Kaya ulitin ko, walang iglesia ni Kristo na dapat mawalan ng pag-asa. Walang iglesia ni Kristo na dapat mag-alala gaano man kabigat ang kanyang masagupa. Ano dahilan? Sapagkat ang Panginoon nakahandang tumulong sa atin, pumatnubay sa atin, magbigay ng proteksyon at magkaloob ng kanyang mga pagpapala na kailangan natin sa ating buhay.
The doctor said that with the fact that I was at stage 5 already, the only way was to get a transplant. Personally, I'm not the most vocal or expressive type of person, but in every situation that I face, I would utter a silent prayer to God to basically help me through every trial that I would face. When I pray to God, I just ask Him to help me endure through the things that I would face, no matter what it may be. I would ask Him to, if possible, help me in my health condition. But at the end of the day, I entrust my life unto Him and what He plans, what His will is. Like what I would always tell my mom, if it's my time, it's my time. It's not really something I'm scared of, or even if things get worse, then so be it, because, at the end of the day, it's what God's will is. And I just have to obey and do what God wants. We were at the same locale po, in the locale of Biloxi, Mississippi. I was also performing at the CWS with Brother Albert, so I was able to tell him some of my stories. And so I think that's what ignited him to help me, to willingly donate his kidney to me. When we found out Brother Albert was willing to be a donor, there were steps that had to be taken. We had to find out if our kidneys were a match, and then Brother Albert also had to see if he was physically well to be a donor for me. And for me, there was definitely a lot of process into it. I had to do a lot of EKG, ultrasounds, and blood workups. In fact, 27 tubes of blood, just to see if we're a match and how compatible we are. When I got the kidney transplant, I was really thankful, and I was just overflowing with gratitude because I didn't have to go through the things that I was going through, the weakness and all the symptoms that I was feeling brought about by my illness. After my transplant, I was saying to God how thankful I am for the blessing that He had blessed me with, because not many people get that chance of finding a kidney donor right away. And I was just really thankful and blessed to have had a brother who was willing to donate his kidney to me. Brother Albert was an instrument used by God to help me live. Brother Albert was willing to donate his kidney to me, even if there was still a chance that my body could reject it, and even if it was also a risk to his life.
Kasi ang sabi sa atin ng Biblia, kayo ay pagpapalain ng Panginoong Diyos. Pero kailan? Kapag sinunod niyo yung mga ipinag-uutos sa inyo ng Panginoon na inyong Diyos. Kaya yun ang ating medyo isipin. Para pala tayo pagpalain, ang kailangan, requirement ito, ano tayo mga kapatid? Sumusunod. Masunurin tayo sa mga kalooban ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Alam nyo, ang ating Panginoong Diyos, pagka ikaw ay matuwid, hindi lang ipagkakalob sa iyong lagi, yung pagpapala, kundi maging yung pag-iingat na mula po sa Kanya. Para tayo laging pagpalain, kinakailangang nasa uring matuwid yung atin pong pamumuhay. Kaya yung aming panawagan sa iglesia na puspusang pagbabagong buhay, ito pa rin po natin yun. Hindi natin inimbento yun. Kailangan talaga natin yun para nang sa ganon ang mga pagpapala ng ating Panginoong Diyos mamalagi po sa atin. Para tayo pagpalain ng ating Panginoong Diyos, ibigay sa atin yung ating mga pangangailangan. Anong sabi sa atin ng Biblia? Kung sasambahin ninyo ang Panginoon. Kaya yung pagsamba, hindi natin dapat pabayaan. Pagka mayroon tayong problema, lalo tayong dapat na sumamba. Sapagkat doon natin matatamo yung mga pagpapala ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Kaya yung ating pagsamba, pagtalagahan natin. Para nang sa ganun, yung mga pagpapala ng ating Panginoong Diyos dumaloy sa atin. Gusto ng Diyos ipagkaloob yun eh. Kailangan lang tuparin natin yung Kanyang mga hinahanap sa atin na dahilan para tayo ay Kanyang pagpalain.
There were many instances wherein even after going to the ER or the hospital, I would go straight to the worship service because the worship services have tremendously helped me in my life, especially with the situation I'm in currently. Because the lessons that we receive during worship services always gives us an inspiration or reminds us of the things that we must do to attain God's promises. And especially when we're facing hardships or sufferings in this life, they would always remind us that God wouldn't give us something that we can't overcome, and that even though we're facing such things, God will be with us through it all. So we're on our way to my dialysis. There's my driver. Say hi. So we're here at my dialysis clinic. Through the blood work, that's how we were able to identify that I was going through some rejection. For the rejection, what it means for rejection is that my body was fighting the kidney that was given to me by Brother Albert, and it was just causing symptoms of like weakness and pain on my side. It was around May of this year when I started having non-stop fevers. I would always get a temperature of 103 degrees. And the doctors just couldn't identify what was causing it. At first, we thought it was like a infection from my PD catheter since I was doing dialysis through my PD catheter. But even after taking that out, I was still having the fevers. That's why I had to go in and out of the hospital for about 2 months. And then eventually, they put in this right here, the catheter right here. This is for the hemodialysis that I have to do. Things were still not working out, so they just decided to take out the kidney because at that point I was already having major pain in my side to where every single movement that I do would cause pain. So I messaged Ka Albert and told him how we tried everything we could to try and keep the kidney, but it was just not working out. In his reply, he said, don't feel bad at all. God is the one who heals, and the kidney was just an instrument, but now the kidney has to go. God has a better plan. I will forever be thankful for the huge sacrifice he had done for me. I basically just have to do dialysis until I find a new kidney. Dialysis is something I often refer to as a washing machine treatment, just because it's where my blood goes through the machine and it then removes or rinses all the waste or toxins in my blood. The very first few sessions was definitely the worst. I remember being so nauseous to the point where I was literally throwing up 3 to 4 times a day and I couldn't eat anything. I also felt extremely exhausted or drained. So I do this 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays for 4 hours, sometimes 4.5 hours. Things I have gone through this past few months, one of the things, for example, was when they placed a tube down my throat, my nose, all the way to my throat. And that was really painful because even if you swallow, you could feel the tube in your throat. And at that time, I was literally just crying to my mom, and I was just saying, it hurts, and I couldn't really do it anymore. But then, at the end of each day, like I said, I just don't give up because I know that God won't give me something that I cannot overcome, and I just have complete hope and trust in God, and that the days and nights may feel long and endless at times, but at the end of each day, He is there and He will help us.
Kung gusto mo, yung mga ipinangako ng Diyos matupad sa iyo, ang gusto ng ating Panginoong Diyos, yung uri ng ating pamumuhay, para sa Kanya. Kailangan nagagawa natin yung para sa Diyos. Ang sumasampalataya, ang sabi sa atin ng Biblia, kinakailangan namumuhay din ng maayos. Tinuturuan tayo ng mga salita ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Pero paano natin makikilala yung talagang natuto tungkol sa ating Panginoong Diyos? Pagka dumaan sa mga pagsubok sa kanyang buhay, sa mga pagsusulit sa kanyang buhay, nakakapasa siya. Kinakailangan ang ginagawa natin, yung ipinagagawa at yung sinasabi sa atin ng ating Panginoong Diyos na dapat po nating gawin. Kaya nga, di ba, ang panawagan din natin sa iglesia, puspusang pagsunod at pagpapasakop sa mga kalooban ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Ano dahilan? Yan po ang susi para tayo pagpalain, para mamalagi sa atin yung mga pagpapalang kailangan natin sa ating buhay. Hindi lang tayo tapat sa ating Panginoong Diyos, kundi ano pa raw ang dapat nating gawin? Pinaparangalan natin ang ating Panginoong Diyos. Kinakailangan niya sa atin yung malasakit sa ating kapwa mananampalataya. Alam nyo kasi yung pagmamalasakit sa kapatid, hinahanap yan ng ating Panginoong Diyos sa atin. Hindi tayo humahanap noon. Kaya gusto ko rin samantalahin, mga kapatid, kung kayo ay inaalok ng tungkulin, huwag kayong tatanggi. Sapagkat ang pag-aalok ng tungkulin sa inyo, galing sa ating Panginoong Diyos. At pagka kayo inalok ng tungkulin ng ating Panginoong Diyos, ang gusto niya, yung kanyang pagpapala, ay kalakip niyang maialok din sa inyo.
I started holding duties back when I was young in the Sibuyas as a Sibuyas choir member. And I've held several duties throughout these years, but I currently in my locale of Mobile, Alabama, I'm a choir member and a local chronicler. In my previous locales, I've also held Sibuyas president, Sibuyas chairperson, Kadiwa president, Sibuyas secretary, TRG. I think it was very important that my parents trained me to start holding duties as young as I was, like in the Sibuyas, because that really helped with why I'm so active at church now, because I was brought up like that. Throughout that time between being diagnosed with a stage 5 kidney failure and waiting for a kidney transplant, I just remained active in my duties at church. If not, I prioritize it even more. Because like what they said in the lessons at church, the tougher the trial, the more should we cling to God and His promises. I just graduated with associate's degree in information systems last year, and so now I'm just trying to focus on completing my bachelor's. I have 2 years left in that. I was actually amazed and also thankful because God helped me through it all, because despite all the hospital visits and admissions I had to go through at that time, I was very blessed to still graduate as a summa cum laude. It was really through God's help, because there was no way I really could have done all of that, especially with the fact that I was taking 5 to 7 classes at a time. Even if the condition of the world or even my condition were to get worse, my conviction is to remain steadfast in my membership in the church and in my duties. It's because I know that the sufferings that I am experiencing now is nothing compared to what awaits us in the future and what God has in store for us.
Sa makatwid ang kinakailangan nating gawin kung napakabigat ng mga suliranin, ng mga dalahi sa ating buhay. Ang sabi ng Biblia, taimtimaan niya kayong magpatuloy sa inyong pakikiusap sa Panginoong Diyos sa pamamagitan ng panalangin. Kaya nga diba ang sabi namin sa inyo mga kapatid, itatag natin sa ating buhay ang pagpapanata, sa ating sambahayan ang mga pananalangin at pagpapanata, sapagkat yan ang paraan para tayo makahingi ng tulong sa ating Panginoong Diyos at makalampas tayo sa lahat ng suliranin. Pagka ginawa natin yan, yung mga pagpapala ng ating Panginoong Diyos, ipagkakaloob niya sa atin. Yan ang dapat nating sampalatayanan. At yan lang ang dahilan. Kaya tayo ng mga iglesia ni Kristo, sa kabila ng nangyayari sa mundo, ng nangyayari sa ating paligid, ay nakapagtataguyod tayo sapagkat yung tulong ng ating Panginoong Diyos, ibibigay niya sa atin sa panahon ng ating pangangailangan. Mahalin natin ang ating pagka-iglesia ni Kristo. Huwag nating bitawan ang ating tinamong karapatang ito sa ating Panginoong Diyos. Tandaan ninyo, mga kapatid, meron tayong pag-asa. Ang pag-asa natin hindi lang sa buhay na ito, kundi hanggang doon sa darating. At yung darating na yun, malapit na. Kaunting panahon na lang ang ating ipinaghihintay, tatamuhin na natin yung ating katubusan, yung pangakong kaligtasan ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Kaya panghawakan pa nating mahigpit ang ating pagka-iglesia ni Kristo.